Cut to be Wastelanders, welcome back to the Lost Holotapes channel, where we delve into the depths of Fallout lore. Today we will continue analyzing the lore of Fallout New Vegas, focusing on the time period from 2171 to 2177, during which the NCR systematically expanded into the Mojave until the first battle for Hoover Dam occurred. Support the project with likes, subscriptions and comments, help fellow wanderers find their way to quality content. If you are new to the Holotapes, I recommend starting from the first episode, as the narrative is sequential. The link to the playlist and other interesting resources is in the description. Let's continue our journey. Prior to 2272, the NCR established the settlement of San Jose on the site of a pre-war city with the same name. In 2272, the NCR finally enters the Mojave region and starts causing a stir. Entering the Mojave from Long 15, the NCR establishes Mojave Outpost at the bottleneck between the mountains, where the highway passes through. Yes, judging by the dates, they first erected the Rangers Monument and only then established the outpost. If we believe the newspaper from the future in Fallout New California, dated by May 5th of 2272, when in-game it was actually November of 2260, from the front page we learned that a corruption case was initiated against Wendell Peterson. He had been on the bishop's payroll for many years, which is now surprising. The war between the NCR and the Brotherhood still continues in California. Around 2272, the battle for San Jose takes place. The Brotherhood have still successfully besieged the city, forcing its residents to evacuate. One squad finds themselves in an encirclement, but thanks to a successful sortie by Captain Andrew Gray Monroe, who destroyed patrol invertebrates, the soldiers managed to break out of the encirclement. Unfortunately, the higher-ups were more interested in evacuating captured Brotherhood technology, so they traditionally abandoned the wounded to die so as not to take up space in the trucks. It even led to a shootout between Gray and his superior officer, ending in the death of a 19-year-old private whom Gray had promised to bring home alive. In the battle for San Jose, Paladin Yakim perishes, leaving behind a Paladin wife, two underage children and a brother, Marcus Valerius. Marcus, the future legate of the Northern Legion and one of the main antagonists in Fallout Frontier, is a scribe and talented medic within the Brotherhood in 2272. However, seeing his brother's death as an inevitable decline of the Order, Marcus takes his brother's family and deserts. Somehow he ends up in the Legion, and by lying about his past and the followers of the Apocalypse, he obtains permission to work as a legionary. Most surprisingly, he manages to keep his brother's family hidden from the Legion's watchful eye for several years. In one of the dialogues, Andrew Monroe mentions that the battle took place when the war with the Brotherhood had just begun, but this cannot be true, as it would push the battle back to 2252, and during the events of Lost Frontier, Gray should already be over 60 and the Valerius brothers' children should be over 30. In 2273, Aaron Kimball wins the election against Wendell Peterson and becomes the 5th president of the NCR. Kimball's rule can be paralleled with the real situation in some countries. He enacted laws allowing political elites to profit, particularly the Brahmin barons. He centralized the political system around himself, transforming the republic into a corrupt autocracy. He fed the population crude propaganda and continued Peterson's rhetoric about taking the Mojave in 3 days. By 2274, several nomadic tribes inhabited the Mojave region. Among them were the Slitherkin and the Mojave Boot Riders. The Slitherkin lured travelers into their camp, drugged them and either robbed or killed them. The Boot Riders, while not particularly distinctive, engaged in ritual knife duels to settle leadership disputes and practiced scalping their enemies. Most likely by 2274, the town of Caliente appeared on the border of the Nevada and Utah wastelands. One of the caravan guides in the Honest Hearts DLC had been a sheriff of the town for a long time before 2281. 2274. Robert Howe saw the NCR approach New Vegas and urgently decided to revive the city from ruins using Securitron army and new settlers for defense against NCR expansion. He identified 3 tribes in the vicinity, the Boot Riders, Slitherkin, and another unnamed tribe of cannibals. Mr. House proposed a rebranding, suggesting that they become owners of several casinos in Vegas, loyal subjects and contributors to the city's revival. The deal didn't go smoothly with the Boot Riders. House's proposal created a rift within the tribe, and the vice chief Benny challenged the then leader to a duel, killing him. The Boot Riders moved to the Tops Casino, changed their names to the chairman as suggested by House, opened crates containing suits and shoes provided by the new employer. Benny, now the leader of the chairman, became House's right-hand man. The Slitherkin agreed immediately, becoming the Myrtus and taking control of the Gomorrah Casino. Their appearance and activities closely resembled pre-war mafia. Racketeering, extortion, prostitution, drugging employees to later deduct an inflated price for camps from their salaries. The unnamed cannibal tribe became the White Glove Society, agreeing not to eat people anymore and erasing their tainted name from the history books. They were given control over Ultra Luxe Casino and took charge of food supplies on the strip. House attempted to recruit the kings of Freeside, but they were too freedom-loving and declined. Also, House harbored no affection for the tribal savages, the Huns, living in the ruins of Vegas, so the first task for the Slither King before signing the contract was to rid Vegas of the Mongols. The Huns lost the battle and were forced to relocate once again. This time the choice fell on the northeast outskirts of the Wasteland, the place known as Bitter Springs. House also offered the residents of Val 21 to open up and join the growing empire. There were those who wanted to leave, but there were also those who wanted to stay. Like all significant decisions before this, the fate of the vault had to be decided by a lengthy game of blackjack. In the end, House's supporters won. However, House didn't just ask to vacate the premises. He extracted all important elements of the technology from the vault and filled it with concrete, filling only a few rooms as a souvenir shop and a mini hotel. The newly controlled settlement of the Strip is part of the agglomeration along with North Vegas, Westside, and Freeside. Access to the Strip is through Freeside, making it interesting to House as a buffer zone, screening out undesirables. Before reaching Vegas, the NCR saw that House has already prepared to defend his interests with Securitrons and the hands of local tribes, so they agreed to sign the Treaty of New Vegas. They couldn't arrogantly take control of the territory. According to the agreement ensuring the independence of the New Vegas territory, the NCR opens an embassy on the Strip, and 5% of the energy generated by Hoover Dam, now under NCR control, goes to Vegas. Besides being a source of energy and clean water, Hoover Dam turned out to be a crucial strategic asset. By 2274, it remained the only surviving crossing over the Colorado River, connecting the two wastelands. Nevertheless, nothing prevents the NCR from establishing camps and outposts. Camp McCarran is established at the site of the airport with the same name, which in real life is not named McCarran anymore. Camps Forlorn Hope and Gulf are set up to monitor the eastern coast. Builder City is annexed by the NCR, probably in 2274, as the road to the dam goes through the settlement. Crimson Caravan and Gunrunners branches are open. NCR establishes the NCR Correctional Facility in the town of Jean. No objections here, a prison is undoubtedly the first thing to establish on annexed territory. It is also known that the Crimson Caravan Company has a large branch in Modoc by 2274. It was just 5 minutes of NCR's presence in the region, and they already got engaged in a war with the new local cell of Brotherhood of Steel. The settlements of Ashton and Hopeville thrived due to food supplies from the NCR and eventually lost their independence. The NCR turned them into outposts for supplying the Mojave through an additional route, the northwest. By the 2270s, the settlements became a major center with over 10,000 inhabitants. 2275, the Brotherhood of Steel in the Mojave relocates its headquarters from Hidden Valley to Helios 1. Before 2276, the Brotherhood establishes the Circle of Steel, an internal security division responsible for identifying and eliminating renegades within the faction. One of the major battles in the region before the appearance of the Legion was Operation Sunburst, conducted by the NCR in October 2276. The operation aimed to capture Helios 1 from the Brotherhood of Steel in the Mojave. Fallout Frontier provides excessive exposition on this battle and allows players to participate in it through another flashback of Captain Gray. Brigadier General Elias Blackthorne leads the assault, hoping that after the battle his war-weary men will finally be sent home. NCR accomplishes the task but suffers colossal losses as always. Blackthorne was forced to carry out the order to finish off wounded soldiers, which came from General Lee Oliver. Furthermore, Aaron Kimball deceived Blackthorne and didn't allow his soldiers to go home, which became almost the last straw for his patience. This battle became a major trigger leading to further desertion of part of NCR army into the frontier wasteland. A Legion infiltrator played a crucial role in the battle, posing as a ranger, Tiberius Rancor from the 1st Recon, infiltrating the base and disabling its defense systems. NCR celebrates victory, but soon discovers that the Brotherhood disabled the station and set up turret security against the NCR. Unable to do anything about it, but understanding the strategic importance of the station, the NCR simply starts guarding it from external threats. Tasha Weaver, one of the paladins, sustains a severe injury and survives only by pretending to be dead. She experiences deep psychological trauma, witnessing her wounded brothers in arms being finished off like dogs, and those who surrendered being executed. She managed to leave the battlefield and gather a handful of comrades, with whom she departed, from the Mojave to New Canaan, where she embraced Mormonism. The Brotherhood leader in the Mojave, Elder Elijah, instead of accurately assessing the defense prospects, ordered to defend Helios to the last night, but secretly fled himself. As a result, more than half of the Brotherhood cell perished. The remnants of the organization had to return to Hidden Valley, and their new leader, Paladin Nolan McNamara, ordered them to stay put. The Circle of Steel declared Elijah a traitor and criminal, and Operative Christian Royce is sent to eliminate him. Bunker 13 is no longer used by the Brotherhood, but it became Elijah's personal shelter. In the Brotherhood's camp, there was a scribe named Charlene Young, possessing telepathic abilities. Elijah abducted her, conducted experiments in Bunker 13, and disappointed with the results, simply left her on the operating table and walked away. Recovered Charlene joined Tasha Weaver's group in New Canaan. Charlene had a romance with Paladin Elian, who, after her abduction by Elijah against Nolan McNamara's orders, left Hidden Valley, essentially deserted, and headed north towards Portland, having erroneous information that Elijah was making his way there. Energy weapons traders, the Van Graffs, came to Freeside and eliminated the owners of the Silver Rush Casino to take over the building they liked. When the Kings intervened, the Van Graffs disintegrated a couple of them. Since then, the groups tried to ignore each other and avoid unnecessary interactions in Freeside. Nobody wanted to start a war in Freeside. Before 2277, the Osborne Metallurgy Company is established in Shady Sands. In the Sonora, there is a tribe called Twin Rivers, whose elders attempted to poison Caesar during a ceremony of their assimilation. It is assumed that they used poisoned weapons, as they had to break through to the throne with a fight. Caesar was saved by Marcus Valerius. While Caesar was in coma due to the injury and the poison, Marcus crucified the entire tribe, ultimately earning the status of a legate. This attack occurred before Caesar sent a delegation to the frontier wasteland, likely between 2272 and 2277, as the legion advanced westward. It can be assumed that Willow and Garage City eventually fell with the legion's advance north if they didn't evacuate before 2271. The NCR establishes the mine town of Sloan, which supplies Boulder City with resources from the local quarry. The NCR also establishes Camp Willow on the eastern bank of the Colorado River. The NCR also establishes sharecropper farms on the site of one of the golf courses located east of the strip. NCR farmers may have settled in the Mojave to grow food to support NCR's local food supply in exchange for housing, protection, tax breaks, and other benefits. Perhaps even land privatization was considered after the victory in the war. An aqueduct extends from Lake Mead to supply the farms with water. As for the Utah Wasteland, the Tar Walkers and Crazy Horns tribes were wiped out by local raiders, most likely by the 80s. Legate Malpace personally comes to the Dead Horse tribe in Colorado and teaches them the art of war to prepare them to join the Legion. By the year 2277, the Midwest Brotherhood has acquired Bunker Zeta. Before the arrival of the Legion, the Midwest lived relatively peacefully. Apparently, a form of federalism was established in the state, and bunkers began to be used as settlements with their own sets of rules for residents. The year 2277 marked a turning point for the Mojave. The Legion launched a full-scale offensive towards the Hoover Dam. 4 months after the Operation Sunburst, the Legion advanced to the Colorado River in February and subjugated the Twisted Hares tribe near Bullhead City. Dry Wells became one of the Legion's forward camps. Ulysses, a talented scout from the tribe, became a frumentary in Caesar's service. Fort Aradesh, located nearby, could not escape the Legion's attention. The Legion began an attack on the fortress, but its defenders simply retreated back to California, leaving it behind. Presumably, they blew up the bridge behind them, preventing the Legion from crossing the river. The Legion privatized the fort, renaming it into Fort Abandoned, mocking the Republicans. At the same time, the Legion reached Willow Beach and began its siege. This time, a real battle took place, lasting for 8 days until the NCR command ordered another retreat. Interestingly, when I played the fun mods of War Trash and Battle for South, they only mentioned the battle for Willow Beach, emphasizing how intense it was. However, there was never a mentioning of the battle for Fort Aradesh. If we accept the version of merging Fort Aradesh and Bullhead City, it now becomes clear why, because there was no battle for Fort Aradesh. I'm telling you, these modders are part of a secret society. They coordinate their lore just pretending that their stories are unrelated. Know this, if my videos stop coming out, it means I've fully explored the entire Fallout lore, and they've come after me. Spring. Shortly after capturing Fort Aradesh, the Legion appeared on the eastern side of the Hoover Dam and established Camp Malpace, named after the acting legate. The Legion's tactic involved rapid advances, especially after the humiliating defeat for the NCR in the south. Right before the battle for the dam, a whole battalion of General Elias Blackthorne's army deserts, completely disillusioned with the NCR, the president, the army, wars, and the treatment of soldiers as expendables. Realizing the truth that the war never ends, he and his army, equipped with vertebrates, tanks, and other military gear, moved away from the NCR to the north, likely passing through Ashton and Hopeville. Captain Gray, Tiberius Ranker, and the entire 1st Brigade joined Blackthorne. We'll talk about the 1st Brigade in an episode dedicated to the Frontier Wasteland. However, the Legion also sent about 100 people, led by Legate Marcus Valerius, to the frontier just before the battle for the dam. His tasks included establishing an exclave cell and assimilating the scattered tribes living there. According to Caesar's plan, once the North Legion conquers the frontier, it will open its second front and attack the NCR from the undefended north. The Legionnaires followed I-84 through Salt Lake City. There they needed to make a significant detour, so they traveled longer than Blackthorn's army. Possibly part of this group separated to go to the Divide. The first battle of Hoover Dam takes place. Despite the mass desertion of a significant part of the army, the NCR manages to repel the Legion's attack using a clever tactic. The Legion placed inexperienced soldiers in the front lines, leaving veterans behind. However, they didn't consider that the NCR had a corps of rangers, top-notch snipers. While regular troops held positions, snipers and rangers picked off the veterans. When panic and chaos erupted in the Legion's camp, they desperately tried to break through to the rangers' positions. The rangers in turn retreated to Boulder City, which they mined and evacuated beforehand. Once the Legionaries entered the city, the Republicans detonated the mines and set a trap. Unfortunately, about 100 of soldiers delaying the Legion's advance had to sacrifice themselves. A memorial was later erected in Boulder City in their honor. However, the task was accomplished and the Legion's offensive was stifled. Parallel to the breakthrough in Boulder, the Legion began a flank attack on Camp Golf, which was also repelled. The NCR saw an opportunity for a counterattack and crossed the dam, but their counterattack also failed at the Arizona Spillway. Both sides, exhausted from the battle, placed artillery on both sides of the dam to shoot anyone attempted to cross the dam from the either side. As a result, the NCR controls the entire west and the Legion controls the entire east. However, Caesar was displeased with the defeat and blames his legate Malpais, Joshua Graham, who had been Caesar's right hand for 30 years since the founding of the faction. Enraged, Caesar burned his associate and threw him into the Grand Canyon, as a lesson to others, reminding them that defeat is inaccessible. However, Joshua survived and the mutilated prodigal son returned to New Canaan, his old home. But rumors about the Burning Man, as he is called, quickly spread across the Wasteland, and he became a character in local folklore. Boulder City, despite complete destruction, survives as a settlement because the NCR still needed construction material and the factory itself was not damaged. The town of Novak is founded in the Mojave on the site of a motel at the intersection of two highways. Its name is taken from the Romanian letters on the sign "No Vacancy." The town's main attraction is a giant T-Rex statue with a thermometer. Marcus, a wandering super mutant for 35 years, arrives at Black Mountain with a group of super mutants and establishes a settlement there, based on the pre-war radio station, becoming the de facto leader. It is quite possible that the mutants left Broken Hills when the mine finally ran dry. The year 2277 is a pivotal one for the region, making it ideal for a recap. There are still 5 more years of history to dissect, which will be covered in one of the upcoming episodes. Don't forget to support the channel with your activity, likes, subscriptions, comments, and so on. It's crucial. And that's it for today. Don't burn dams, bridges, or your gates, and then we'll see each other in the Wastelands, Wanderers. End of the holotape.